I have awakened from my tomb crypt, and the holidays are far behind me. I'm ready to do some damage. I'm Ian from Hyperspace Hobbies. Let's talk Necron. I have two lists for you to take a look at today, and they showcase the diversity of this codex in a really interesting way. I want to talk about the codex as a whole for a second and some of the more interesting units. I just found out while filming this that the #1 damage combo that we had has been nerfed. I'm talking about the Cryptek, the Tesla Immortals, and the Canoptek Court See No Seizure of Eradication 2 command point stratagem. It no longer affects the unit as a whole, it only affects Cryptek and Canoptek models in that unit, so you won't be doing 10 devastating wounds off of those Teslas anymore. This codex granted Necron the most important ability in all of Warhammer 40k, that is maneuverability. Flayed ones with infiltrating, the tomb blades that can outpace most aircraft. The Chronomancer with the Overlord Translocation Shroud can make your humble Immortals and Warriors move 16 inches, though they cannot charge. This grants you huge board control. A Night Scythe can enter on turn 1 with a payload of infantry. The blinking Satan Shards, Ophidian Destroyers show up wherever you need them out of Deep Strike, and Deep Striking Death Marks are still as cheap as ever in this codex. The codex has the ability to own the movement phase, which is so very important. It can crush in board control, it can deny objectives, and it can screen out your opponent in a lot of different ways. I think it's got a lot of legs to it. We're not even covering the durability of these units and the damage output of these units. Let's not forget the new hotness, the Technomancer and the Canoptek Wraith unit. This gives them a massive spike in durability with a 5-up Feel No Pain and the ability to regenerate wounds off of this Cryptek. And he is able to keep up with them because his speed has been adjusted with his Canoptek Cloak style ability. Because they can have a character join the unit for the first time, they get the ability to have enhancements. Some of them are amazing. One of them allows them to infiltrate. And if you keep some scarabs next to the Crypteks, they become OC1, giving them a little bit of an edge on your opponent, considering how cheap they are and how annoying they can actually be. I feel the Necron book took a lateral move with durability, as some units lost it. Our old Lichguard Death Star is kind of gone, but then we have Wraiths that gained that durability. Another lateral move with firepower. Some units lost some others gained it. As an army-wide rule, Reanimation protocol has gone through many iterations. Not quite sure if the current one is overpowered or if it's a bit weak. Only time will tell. But they have the movement, the firepower, and the durability to get it done. Let's see how the codex played in a few tournaments. Here are the two lists that I've chosen to take a look at, and they showcase the diversity of this new codex. Let's dive in. The Canoptek Court detachment rule power matrix is very strong. Having any Canoptek unit or Cryptek unit reroll 1s, no matter where they are on the battlefield, is extra good. But if they are within your power matrix, they reroll hits instead. Certain areas of the battlefield are considered to be within your army's power matrix as follows. Your deployment zone is always in your army's power matrix, which means things like Canoptek Doomstalkers will be rerolling hits if they stay within your deployment zone. At the start of any phase, if you control at least half of the objective markers in no man's land, it becomes your power matrix. And at the start of any phase, if you control half of the objective markers within your opponent's deployment zone, that becomes in your power matrix. Rerolling hit rolls of 1 for Cryptek and Canoptek units is amazing. Rerolling all hits is truly terrifying for your opponent. Chronomancer, a Satan Shard of the Nightbringer, Satan Shard of the Void Dragon, Illuminor Szeras, which is awesome, an Overlord with a Translocation Shroud, ×2 with Resurrection Orbs, a Plasmancer, a Technomancer, ×2 with Dimensional Sanctum, 2 squads of 10 Immortals, 2 squads of 6 Canoptek Wraiths, a Lokhust Destroyer, and 2 squads of 3 Tomb Blades. The Nightbringer and the Void Dragon both fill similar roles. They both move forward, tank a lot of damage, and will destroy in close combat. Though I feel the Void Dragon has a bit of a better ability because he has the ability to heal if he does damage to a vehicle. That being said, the Nightbringer can do a ton of damage if his abilities also go off. The Nightbringer and the Void Dragon put on some huge pressure. They both don't really move that fast as their movement has been nerfed to 6, but they both gained a 5-up Feel No Pain. So essentially dropping movement for up durability, hopefully they'll still make it there anyways. Illuminor Szeras has some truly amazing rules. His ability to drop your opponent's AP while simultaneously boosting your own puts him in a category all his own. He's also extremely tough, with 9 wounds and a Feel No Pain of 4. He also has Lone Operative if he's within 3 inches of a Necron unit. He's got a fantastic gun, he's got great close combat, and every time he kills something in the fight phase, he increases the radius of his mechanical augmentation by 3. But he really benefits those battle line units, dropping AP and increasing AP for your opponent and for yourself. The Overlord with the Translocation Shroud goes with the Tesla Immortals. This allows that unit to move 6 inches automatically as an advance roll. That means that essentially these Immortals are moving 11 inches every turn and still shooting their guns at full. The combo of a Chronomancer and an Overlord with a Translocation Shroud means that one of your Immortal units in this particular list will be moving 16 inches. This gives them the ability to move 11, shoot their guns, and then move another 5. This allows them to blitz forward to get those shots and then bounce back into cover or hide themselves behind a building. The Plasmancer is a true harbinger of destruction. Critical hits on 5 for a Tesla squad means their Tesla sustained hit 2s will be triggering a third of the time. This completely throws this unit into superstardom, as a 10-man unit will be hitting so hard. Don't forget, if you are within your power matrix, they'll be re-rolling hits. And if they're outside, they'll be re-rolling 1s anyways. That combined with the reroll wounds of the Immortal squad, and all of a sudden, their consistency becomes really, really high. The Technomancer with Dimensional Sanctum means his unit gains Infiltrate. This allows a 6-man Canoptek unit and himself to show up anywhere on the battlefield. Their durability is increased exponentially by the fact that they will be gaining a 5-up Feel No Pain, and he moves just as fast as they do. The Technomancer can also heal them D3 wounds, and now they have 4 wounds, so it is the perfect combo, and you're going to see it a lot. I think it's almost a staple in every Necron list. Canoptek Wraiths are pretty strong in close combat, and with the addition of the Technomancer, it gives them a little buff on their Wraith form ability as well. Each time this unit makes a normal move, you can select one enemy unit it moved over during that move, and roll 1d6 for each model in this unit. For each 4+, the unit suffers 1 mortal wound. This kind of sounds a little tricky, but all you need to do is have a single model in your unit move over 1 model in your opponent's unit, and you get to roll for every single model in your unit. Your entire unit does not have to move over for everyone to roll dice. It clearly states only 1 model needs to glance over top of another for your entire unit to roll for Wraith form. A single Lokhust Destroyer with a Gauss cannon is an interesting unit. It's really cheap, you can throw it in anywhere, and it's just a single model. Not only that, he's got firepower to boot. So for 30 points, you can throw it in there if you've got some extra points laying around. It can also hold backfield objectives and threaten anybody who tries to get too close. Tomb Blades are one of the most interesting little units that this codex has. They're fairly cheap, their damage output is okay, but their movement speed is truly incredible. Equipped with a single Tesla carbine and 2 particle beamers, which I think is probably one of their best loadouts, they move 12, they can advance and still shoot the twin Tesla, and then after that, their evasion engrams allow them to make a normal move of up to 6 inches, though they cannot declare a charge. This means if you roll hot enough with your advance roll, let's say you roll a 6, this unit completes a 24-inch movement. They are also OC2 and are worthy of sacrificing if you can steal an objective away from an opponent. The ability to advance and still shoot with 1 Tesla carbine means that they're able to forego shooting and still complete objectives. This puts Tomb Blades in an extremely high tier, in my opinion. This list deploys speed and damage output with unkillable threats. The Nightbringer, the Void Dragon, both Canoptek Wraith units are extremely durable no matter what you're shooting at them, and they have a lot of surprises to make them extra nasty. The 10 Tesla Immortals are always advancing, and sometimes advancing and then shooting and then moving again. That with the 2 Tomb Blades, this list is going to be everywhere all the time. It's almost as fast as Hypercrypt Legion, which is our next big list. A Grimdark New Year's 40k GT in the US had 65 players, and this Hypercrypt Legion list did fairly well. It starts off with a Satan Shard of the Nightbringer. They're in both of our lists. Imhotep the Stormlord. The Overlord with a Translocation Shroud. 5 death marks. 3 squads of 10 flayed ones, which is so awesome to see. 3 squads of 3 Lokhust Heavy Destroyers. That is 9 Lokhust Heavy Destroyers. All the 3 have the same loadout. An Enigmatic Exterminator and 2 Gauze Destructors. It also comes with some old bad boys. The Lich Guard. 5 with Dispersion Shields and 10 with War Scythes. And of course, it comes with a monolith. Hyperphasing is truly awesome. It allows you to pick up 3 units at the end of your opponent's movement phase and put them into strategic reserves. An errata came out earlier today, and I'm going to cover one of the stratagems here, Cosmic Precision. Cosmic Precision is a 1 command point strategic ploy. In your movement phase, 1 Necron unit from your army that is arriving using the Deep Strike or Hyperphasing abilities this phase, your unit can be set up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 3 inches away horizontally from all models. A unit targeted by this stratagem is not eligible to declare a charge in the same turn. There was some confusion when this first came out. It was initially stated that if you were coming in from reserves, which mean the board edge, you could have your 3 inches. Or if you had the ability to deep strike, you could enter and do the 3 inches away from opponents. This actually states that you don't even need to deep strike. You can put your unit anywhere you want to put them on the entire battlefield, which is really interesting because you can pull a unit that can only arrive from reserves from the table edge and just deep strike them 3 inches anywhere on the battlefield. For 1 command point, allowing your unit to deep strike is incredibly strong. And it works especially well with the Satan Shard of the Nightbringer. He is extremely nasty, and getting him extra close is just extra icing on that death gaze cake. The Overlord with the Translocation Shroud took the Osteoclave Fulcrum. Imhotep and the Overlord would both be joining each Lich Guard squad. Imhotep is pretty strong and provides some very good firepower. He also gives you 1 command point every turn, which is invaluable in any type of list, especially one that has a couple 2-point stratagems like Hyperphase Recall and Dimensional Corridor. Flayed ones are especially nasty because they can infiltrate. And 3 squads of 10 is going to be a big threat to anyone, especially with some of their special rules and their close combat. 3 squads of 3 Lokhust Heavy Destroyers is truly terrifying, but when you add in the fact that the Hypercrypt Legion can essentially outflank them every turn, these guys will have line of sight on anything they want to shoot. Truly a fantastic choice. The Death Marks have a pretty strong shooting profile and they're very low point cost. And they also have Deep Strike, so if you put them into Hyperphasing, they can deep strike anywhere they like. The thing that benefits the most from the Hypercrypt Legion is the monolith. It is very expensive, but man, does it ever have durability. And its super cool tricks allow you to really bamboozle your opponent. Most of the stratagems are kind of geared towards using a monolith, and taking one is not really that much of a detriment, considering you can blink it anywhere you want on the battlefield. Deep striking a monolith using Cosmic Precision is hilarious and probably going to be the only way you're going to get it on the battlefield. And immediately after that, it can use its ability. The Necron monolith also packs one heck of a punch. With the Death Ray sustained hits D3, you have 4 of those, so you're going to be shooting 4 shots at strength 12 -4 D6 +1. And then it also has a particle whip. 3d6, strength 8 -1, damage 2, blast. Devastating wounds. If you roll hot with that, you are going to obliterate just about anything in the game. We are still in the early stages of the Necron Codex, and a lot of the deep secrets of it are yet to be unlocked. I can't wait to see what's coming out from more iterations of lists from this Necron Codex, and I can't wait to get a couple more games in myself. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're coming back after the holidays with 3,000 subs. I could not be happier. Thank you all for subscribing and being fans of Necrons and Hyperspace Hobbies.